In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about my experience for my first year of National Nursing Home Week as the activity director. Hi friends, welcome back to So Obvious. I'm Apolinar. So as I've mentioned before multiple times here, I'm an activity director at a nursing home. What some of you guys might not know is that May is a very event-heavy month for nursing homes here in the US. The most obvious thing is obviously Mother's Day. But the week before Mother's Day, we have National Nurses Week, and Mother's Day actually kicks off National Nursing Home Week. National Nursing Home Week is an activity-heavy week. This was my first week being the actual activity director, meaning that the focus was all on me, and I was doing the majority of the planning. I have done Nursing Home Week 3 times before at my last job, but over there I was the activity assistant, so I was really just following the director's ideas and doing whatever they were telling me to do. Honestly, I thought National Nursing Home Week was very stressful as an activity assistant. It was way more stressful as the director. So I haven't been the director very long. I've only been the director since last September. And because this was my first year doing National Nursing Home Week on my own, I wanted to make sure that it was a really great week. So I started planning it back in December. Unfortunately, I didn't plan for, Miss Coronavirus doing her world tour. So a lot of the things that I had planned kind of fell by the wayside, and I had to come up with something different. Every year in January, the National Nursing Home Week theme is announced. This year's theme was the wisdom we share. Usually directors try and follow the theme for the activities that week, but I honestly couldn't think of very many things to do with the wisdom we share. I thought about doing a day where I had the residents wear name tags with the types of jobs they did previously to coming to the nursing home. That way staff could talk to them and ask them about it. But then with the whole COVID thing, residents aren't really allowed out of their rooms, or at least they're not allowed to be in groups. So it kind of made that idea not as effective, because then that would mean that it would only be staff asking the residents about their experiences instead of just the residents asking each other as well. So I thought about it, and honestly, the wisdom we share wasn't a theme that I could come up with a lot of ideas for. And when I talked to other activity directors that I know, it kind of seemed like the general consensus was everyone was having a hard time, not just because of the coronavirus, but because of the theme. It kind of didn't leave much for interpretation, so we couldn't really go off in different directions. So I decided that I was just going to throw the theme out the window, and I was going to create my own theme. The wisdom we shared to me kind of made me think of past decades, so I decided to go with a theme called The Blast from the Past. So each day we were going to focus on a different decade, and I was going to decorate different parts of the building according to each decade. And I tried to make sure that the areas that I decorated were the areas that the residents were still able to go to, even if they couldn't go in a group. For example, the therapy room, the front lobby, the nurses station. We also have a dementia unit. We call it the courtyard, and there's a little area where a lot of the residents tend to sit and watch TV. While we keep them 6 feet apart, of course. So I try to keep those areas decorated, and the decades that I did were the 50s, the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. Obviously, I told staff to dress accordingly, and a lot of the staff members did an awesome job dressing up according to the decades. So the week leading up to National Nursing Home Week, I was kind of just helping with National Nurses Week, but I was running a lot in and out of the building, going to the store, getting supplies, making the decorations. I made a lot of the decorations myself because I couldn't find things either in time, or I couldn't find specific things that I wanted. So the entire week I was kind of just running around and hot gluing stuff, burning myself. A lot of times my hands have so many burns from the hot glue gun. While I was planning for National Nursing Home Week, I was also getting everything ready for a Kentucky Derby event that we did and our Mother's Day party. Now, I talked to you guys about my Mother's Day party ideas last month, and I actually altered the plans to be able to accommodate this whole not being able to do things in groups. So what I came up with was, I started this competition for staff and decorated all of our female residents' rooms according to a theme. The theme was Pretty in Pink. So I went out and bought all the supplies, and I gave everyone a certain number of supplies, and I'm not gonna lie, I was talking a lot of smack the week leading up to it because I wanted to make everyone be as competitive as possible so that we would have the best outcome. And the staff did awesome. I'll post some pictures next to me here so you guys can see some of the doors that we created. Then as far as the actual Mother's Day party, what I did was a hallway tea party. So I had all the residents, I included the male residents as well. I got them all to their doors with their side tables, and then I had this cart filled with cupcakes, cookies, crackers, everything in pink, of course, to go with the theme. We had pink lemonade, raspberry tea, all types of things. And we just went up and down the hallways and offered the residents all these snacks, all these drinks that they had. And of course we took photos, but I can't share those because of HIPAA violation and I don't want to lose my job. But the residents really had a fun time. Obviously it wasn't the same as what it would have been when we could have invited their families and have them take big pictures with the background and all that. But it was something for them to look forward to. And honestly, some of the residents had so much fun. It may not have been a 10 out of 10, but it was E for effort, I guess. The same day of the Mother's Day party, we did a Kentucky Derby event. And for that one, I ordered some of those horse masks from Amazon. And I had the nurses and CNAs and one of our housekeepers wear them. And they were the racehorses. So again, we lined up the residents at their doorways. We had them rolling dice. Every time a resident rolled a double, the horse that they were rolling for got to move forward a door. And to make things even better, we actually had some people who donated some hats for us. So we can make some little fancy hats for, in Kentucky Derby, the big thing is, those crazy hats the ladies wear. So I got all types of flowers, pom-poms, tulle, everything that we could glue on there for the residents to make their own hats on top of the ones that were donated. So everyone was in their full hat gear and we were all just watching the horses racing. It was pretty fun. Now for National Nursing Home Week, I made one big event for each day, usually at 2 o'clock, so that residents would be able to attend as well as staff. Most of our shift changes happen around 2 o'clock. So we were able to get more staff involved during those times. Mondays was the 60s, so I did a tie-dye event. I mean, it seems pretty simple and basic, but you can't go wrong with tie-dye. I've personally never tie-dyed anything. In school, I took classes on how to alter the surface design of certain fabrics, but it's not the same as tie-dyeing. So I relied on some of the nurses to tell me exactly what to do because they've done it before. We had so many residents show up. We had a lot of staff show up. I had bought t-shirts in all different sizes. I had these little teddy bears that you could tie-dye. I also bought these little side bags for wheelchairs that you could put with Velcro, and the residents really enjoyed those. And then once everyone was done, I also had this big table just filled with chips and cookies and snacks, because you can't have an event without having any sort of food. Unfortunately, we couldn't have all the residents there at once, so we were doing about 3 or 4 residents at a time and keeping them, 6 feet away from each other. Tuesdays was the 50s. I know what you're thinking, why did I do the 60s first and the 50s second? Honestly, I was just tired when I made the calendar, and when I realized the mistake, the calendar was already printed, so I said, it. We're just gonna time jump. So for the 50s, what I did was I focused more on the 1950s Hollywood movies and actors. So I printed off pictures of 20 different actors from the 1950s, from Marilyn Monroe to John Wayne to Frank Sinatra, Doris Day. Then I put them in a random order. I put all their names in a random order, and I had staff and residents try and guess who was who. Believe it or not, I actually did have several people who got 20 out of 20. And one of our residents is the one who got the ultimate prize, which was like Ferrero Rocher chocolate, some drinks, and some cotton candy and some other stuff. Honestly, I bought so many prizes for this week, I don't remember who I gave what to. So she won, that's all that matters. For Wednesday, we did the 70s. And for the 70s, I was so excited. I went on Amazon and I ordered these 4 neon colored afros because we were going to do the afro game. So what I did is me and 3 of the nurses put on the afros. We fluffed them up as much as we could. And then I had my assistant pop a bunch of popcorn. What we did is we had one resident sitting in front of us. We were sitting about 5-6 feet away from them. And we gave them a time. Each round was 1.5 minutes. And in that 1.5 minutes, the resident was going to take 1 piece of popcorn at a time and throw it and see how much of it they can get into our wig. There was popcorn everywhere. I think my staff and I spent about 10 minutes after everyone left, after we had already cleaned up, cleaning up even more popcorn because It was under the table, it went under the doors, we stepped on it, but honestly, the residents had so much fun. When I explained to them the game, they were all kind of like, that sounds stupid. And I was like, yeah, it's stupid. That's why it's gonna be fun. Just trust me, let's do it. And they ended up doing it, and it was so much fun. Again, I will post some pictures here of myself with the afro. Obviously, I can't post any of the residents playing, but I will show some of the afros with the popcorn in them. Now for Thursday, we did the 80s. Neon to be specific. So everyone wore these like bright neon colors. One of the nurses looked like JoJo Siwa. It was awesome. For the game, what we did was a Ghostbusters game, because the Ghostbusters movie came out originally in the 80s. So what I did was I went and got a whole bunch of silly string, and then I got some poster board, cut out some ghosts out of it. I had the staff be the ghosts, the residents were the Ghostbusters. We stood about 8 feet away from each other, and the residents had a minute to get as much silly string on the ghost as possible. We did about 5 rounds, so we had about 5 residents win. Again, when I explained the game to everybody thought it was stupid, but then everyone had so much fun. I just wanted to do these things because even though they were so stupid, it was something nice to get our mind off everything that's going on. It was fun for our staff to interact with residents in another way other than just giving them care, as far as being a nurse or a CNA, because I feel that activities gets to see a different part of all the residents that all the other departments don't. Because when you're giving care, you know, you have to give them showers when they might not want to have a shower. You have to give them their medicine when they don't want medicine. You have to give them their shots. You have to give them these. So the residents may not look at you in the most positive light. Whereas with activities, they want to go to those games. They want to go to the musical events. They want to go to the parties. So we get to be the good guys. And I think it's important for other departments to see that side of the residents, and for the residents to see that side of the other employees, you know, to say, you know, they can have fun with them too. And it was a good stress relief for everybody. Now for Friday, we didn't really have a theme just because I didn't really want to do the 90s. So I decided for Friday, I think a good catch-all for Fridays for the end of a week is just have a cookout. So I had our kitchen manager, hi Kelly, we had her order just some hot dogs, some hamburgers. I went out to the store, got a bunch of potato salad, coleslaw, macaroni salad. Somebody brought baked beans, somebody brought a pasta salad. We had chips, we had pops, we had all types of stuff, just this big cookout. And then that was for staff. And for the residents, they love fresh fruit. So I went and got watermelon, pineapple, apple, strawberries, cantaloupe. And then I got like 3 different types of dips, like a chocolate dip, caramel dip, and a strawberry cream cheese dip for them. And my staff and I just cut up all these fruits. My staff and I went room to room with plates and just asked them, what kind of fruit would you like? Then gave them a dip. And the residents, honestly, when I put together the fruit, like when I thought about doing the fruit for the residents, I didn't think it was enough. But seeing their reaction, like they were all so thankful and happy to have fresh fruit. I mean, not that kitchen doesn't give them fresh fruit. With everything going on with the coronavirus, they're not getting this typical meals that they would get when we're allowed to have everyone in the dining room. So I think a lot of residents were just really happy to have watermelon, pineapple, that kind of stuff that they don't always get. By the time the week ended, I was so tired, mentally, physically. I was just looking forward to the weekend so that I could like sleep in. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun and I had a great time, but planning it all was a lot. Especially, I think, because it was my first time, so I wanted it to be really good. But then on top of that, I had the extra stress of having the coronavirus be in the way. So I was like, how can I make this not only good enough, but better than what I want it to be? Because I want them to kind of forget about what's going on, even if it is for just the one activity per day. I wanted the residents to, you know, just have fun. I wanted the staff to have fun and be involved, and I think it went pretty well. A lot of residents mentioned how much fun they had. The staff told me how much fun they had. I'm hoping that was true. I hope they weren't just like telling me to make me feel better. This whole experience just made me realize how much I do love doing what I do and how important activities are. A lot of people out here, outside of nursing homes, wouldn't necessarily think that activities are that important. But when you realize that these people come into the nursing home and they can't just go to the store whenever they want, they can't just go visit their friends whenever they want. You know, like everything is planned for them, their meals, their shower, their care. I mean, obviously nursing homes try and give you as much independence as possible and let you make your own choices, but at the end of the day, they still have to do these things. That activities become that much more important. Activities helps the residents from going to things like depression or just boredom. So for somebody out here who gets to do all those things and gets to make all their own choices and all that, you know, activities might not seem that fun, but that's because you're always doing something. You always have something to do. So when you have that free time, you might just want to lay down and hang out. Whereas with them, they might just look forward to those activities, whether it's sitting in a group and singing together, whether it's playing bingo or spraying silly string at a cardboard. I mean, it made me realize how important my job is, because I think sometimes even I forget how important my job is to my specific field. Thankfully, I think this reinvigorated me to continue to do my best. Not that I'm not good, because not to toot my own horn, I'm pretty good at it. If you like today's video, make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. You can also follow me on Instagram on IdaPolyLook. There you can look at any of the projects that I'm working on or any upcoming videos that I'll be posting on here. If you didn't like the video, then I need you to go to your nearest nursing home, apply to be the activity director, see how hard the job actually is, then come back and rewatch this, because then you'll like it, because everything will make sense to you. Okay, bye!